She called the cops and shouted, "He is trespassing on our hotel property." But the ground under her fancy new building still belonged to me. I had been away for 6 months helping my brother recover after his accident. When I returned to my small town, my land, my family's old ranch, was gone. At least that is what it looked like for a moment, because in its place stood a glass and steel luxury hotel. My fence was torn down, my private property sign replaced with their logo. I parked my truck near the gate, confused, when a security guard rushed toward me. "Sir, you cannot park here," he barked. I pointed at the old oak tree near the road. "That tree has stood on my land for 50 years. You might want to check your map before yelling at me." Before he could respond, she appeared. Karen, the self-appointed HOA president, blonde curls, clipboard, and that permanent smirk that made her look like she ruled the world. "Oh, it is you," she said, arms crossed. "We took care of your land while you were gone. It is part of the HOA expansion now. You should be grateful. It raised your area's value." I stared at her for a moment, then asked quietly, "You built a hotel on my land?" She laughed and tapped her badge. "Correction, our land. You ignored our notices, so it was added to the HOA district." My anger rose, but I kept my voice steady. "Interesting, because my lawyer never received any notice, and I did not sign anything." Her smirk faded for a moment. "You can take it up with the HOA board. For now, you are trespassing. Leave before I call the police." I looked at the hotel, shiny and crowded, filled with guests who had no idea they were standing on stolen ground. Then I looked back at her and said, "Call them quickly, because when they arrive, I will be the one pressing charges." Her smirk returned but looked forced. She waved her hand, and 2 guards stepped toward me. "Escort him off our property," she ordered like a queen in her own little world. One guard reached for my arm. I stepped back and said calmly, "Careful. You are about to put your hand on the legal owner of this land." They hesitated. That was all I needed. I pulled out my phone and opened a file. A deed. My granddad had updated it before he passed, and my name was printed in bold letters. I held the screen up. "See this? Owner Daniel H. Carter." "That is me." Karen squinted, then laughed. "Fake. Nice edit. This property has been under HOA management for 3 months. We have paperwork." "Then show it," I said. She did not. Instead, she grabbed her phone. 911. "There is a man trespassing and threatening us. Please send officers immediately." People standing near the hotel began watching. Guests peeked through windows. I heard whispers. "Isn't that the ranch owner? What is happening?" I stepped closer and said quietly, "You really want to call them? Make sure you are ready when they find out what you've built this place on." Minutes later, a patrol car arrived. 2 officers stepped out, hands near their belts. Karen rushed to them like she was their supervisor. "Officers, thank goodness. He refuses to leave the hotel grounds." The taller officer turned to me. "Sir, may we see some ID?" I handed it over calmly. "Sure, and while you are at it, check this deed. The land number matches your city records." The second officer checked his tablet. His eyes narrowed. "It does match." Karen blinked. "That is impossible. This land was HOA property." The first officer looked at her. "Ma'am, the system shows no transfer or sale. Legally, this land still belongs to Mr. Carter." Her face lost all color. I crossed my arms. "So, officer, what usually happens when someone builds a multi-million-dollar hotel on land that is not theirs?" He gave a small grin. "It depends, but it often starts with an investigation." Karen stepped back, her voice shaking. "This must be a mistake." I smiled. "No mistake. You built your dream hotel on my land." That was the moment everything shifted. Karen's face twisted between panic and fake confidence. As the officers walked to their patrol car to make a few calls, she turned to me and hissed, "You think this will save you? The HOA board handles everything legally. You are wasting your time." I smiled calmly. "If you say so." While she glared, I opened my hidden camera app. I had weeks of footage recorded by the small camera my father installed years ago inside an old fence post. They had never removed it before bulldozing everything. I played one clip loud enough for her to hear. HOA trucks rolling in, breaking my fence, removing my signs, and dumping them in a ditch. Her eyes widened. "Where did you get that?" "From my land," I said softly. "The one you believed you owned." Before she replied, the officers returned. "Ma'am," one said firmly, "there is no record of any HOA purchase or permit for this property. We need you to come with us to answer some questions." Karen stepped back. "You cannot do that. I am the HOA president." The officer gave her a steady look. "That title does not place you above the law." I thought justice was about to be served instantly, but a sleek black SUV rolled up. A man in a tailored suit stepped out. "I am Richard Allen," he said, "legal counsel for the HOA. We will handle this matter privately." The officers hesitated as he showed them documents and began talking quickly about zoning confusion and pending approvals. It was all meant to slow things down. Karen stood taller behind him, smirking. "See, I told you. We will sort this out." I looked at her. Sort it out or hide it. Richard turned toward me with a practiced smile. "Mr. Carter, you should consider a settlement once the misunderstanding is cleared. Perhaps even a share of hotel profits." I let out a quiet laugh. "You built a hotel on stolen land and now want to buy my silence." He leaned in and whispered, "Everyone has a price." I met his stare. Some of us have principles. That shut him up. But Karen's smug expression told me the fight was far from over. I drove home that night, anger burning in my chest. I did not trust her or her lawyer. I spent the next day digging through old county records and found everything I needed. The HOA had filed documents using my late father's name to claim temporary construction rights. It was clear fraud. I called Jake, my friend who worked as a reporter. Within hours, news cameras were set up outside the hotel. Karen stormed out yelling, "Turn those off," but it was too late. The story went live. The footage, the forged documents, all of it. Officers arrived again, this time with detectives. The lawyer attempted to leave, and Karen kept insisting it was a misunderstanding. But the officers read her rights on the hotel steps. A week later, the court returned full control of the property to me. The investors had no choice but to hand it over. I did not tear it down. I renamed it the Carter in honor of my family. When a reporter asked how it felt to own the land again, I said, "I did not fight for money. I fought for what belonged to my family." In the crowd, Karen watched from her car, silent and defeated. Justice was served. The land reclaimed. Game over. The end. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible HOA Karen stories.